Hello, and welcome. Okay, let's just dive right into a topic that I'm sure hits close to home for a lot of you. We've all been in that meeting, right? Or on that email chain where there's that awkwardness around titles. Who gets called what? Why does it seem to matter so much? Well, today we're going to unpack that whole thing.
And it usually boils down to this classic question, doesn't it? You've got the director, who has the formal power to make the call, and then you have the doctor, who has the recognized deep expertise. When they're both in the same room, who's really in charge? It's such a common point of friction in so many workplaces.
But here's the thing. This isn't just about ego or someone feeling slighted. We're going to move way past personal beliefs and anecdotes today. This entire explainer is grounded in the incredible research of Dr. Rony A. Rodas, who actually developed a model that gives us the data to understand what's really going on with this kind of status conflict. So, let's start by digging into the core problem. How can a simple name, just a title, cause so much friction? Well, the answer is pretty fascinating, and it's because not all titles are created equal, not by a long shot. Okay, first up, you have your institutional title. Director, manager, vice president. This is a role that your employer gives you. And look, its power is very real, but it's also contained. That authority, it basically lives inside the walls and the org chart of that specific company. But then you have the academic title, like doctor. Now, this isn't a job. It's a credential that a person earns. It's attached to the individual, not the position they hold. It signals a certain kind of expertise. And here is the absolute key. It's portable. It goes with them wherever they go. So now that we've got the basics down, let's jump into a framework from Dr. Rodas' research that really breaks down the fundamental differences between these two kinds of titles. So if you remember one thing, remember this. One is a role and one is a credential. The institutional title, your director, it's job-based, it's temporary, it's handed to you by an employer, and it's gone when the job is gone. The academic title, doctor, that's person-based, it's permanent, it's an earned credential that sticks with you for life. And this diagram just illustrates that point brilliantly. It's from the research, and it shows the life cycle of each title. Just look at the institutional title. It's granted, it's only valid within a certain job, and poof, it ends when the employment ends. But the academic title, that's earned, it's verified, and it persists. It's built to last. Now, this table is where it gets really juicy. It breaks down those differences into these clear dimensions. Look at portability. Sky high for the academic title, but super low for the institutional one. And check out the row for authority. The doctor title has what's called epistemic authority. That's the authority that comes from knowledge and expertise. The director has formal authority, the right to make decisions. They are just fundamentally different kinds of assets. Okay, so we know they're different. We get it. But how does that difference actually lead to conflict at work? Let's trace how this all builds up into what the research calls the status pathway. This pathway is just fascinating. It all starts with a simple title cue. You see doctor or director next to a name. That cue immediately kicks off status expectations in our brains about who's competent and who's in charge. Those expectations then shape the interaction pattern. You know, who we let speak, whose ideas we listen to, and that path leads us to the final outcome. Either everybody's on the same page or you've got conflict.
To put it really simply, doctor makes us expect to hear expertise. Director makes us expect to see formal authority. The friction starts when one is used to challenge the other, like when someone uses their expertise to question a director's decision, or a director uses their positional power to shut down an expert's input.
This map, from the research, man, it just drives the whole point home. On the vertical axis, you've got authority inside the organization. On the horizontal axis, you have portability outside of it. Now, look where the titles fall. The institutional title is way up high on authority, but low on portability. The academic title? Totally the reverse. They live in completely different spaces. Of course, someone who's both, well, they cover both dimensions. So, I know this all might sound a little messy, but here's the good news. The research doesn't just point out the problem, it actually offers a clear, evidence-based playbook for how to create clarity and cut down on all this friction. So, the big question, how do we fix it? Well, Dr. Rodas' work gives us a game plan with specific, actionable steps for the organization, for the people holding doctorates, and for the administrators trying to manage it all.
For the institutions, the advice is simple. Be proactive. Get a single clear style guide out there so there's no more confusion. Train your leaders on how to manage legitimacy, how to acknowledge expertise without wrecking the org chart. And this is a big one. Stop people from weaponizing their titles to just dominate every conversation.
Now, for those of you with doctorates, the playbook is all about strategy and substance. Use your doctor title when your expertise is actually relevant to the discussion. And hey, when you disagree with a decision, use evidence, use data to make your case, not just the status of your title. It's a tool for credibility, not a club for arguments.
And finally, for you administrators out there, the game plan is about balance. You have to recognize that academic titles are earned, meaningful credentials. Don't just dismiss them. Use your formal authority to coordinate and make the final call, but always make space for expertise to inform those decisions. And when a conflict does pop up, just calmly restate the boundary. We respect the credential, but decisions have to follow our role structure.
So, at the end of the day, why does any of this really matter? Because sorting this out isn't just about good manners. It's about building a smarter, more effective, and genuinely more respectful organization for everyone.
And I think this quote from Dr. Rodas' research just says it all. The goal is a stable rule. Titles clarify context, not dominance. A title's job should be to tell you someone's function or their background, not to establish who's the alpha in every single conversation.
And when you get this right, the payoff is huge. Clear rules mean less resentment, fewer pointless conflicts, and it leads to way better collaboration, because you're finally aligning the brainpower in your organization with the decision-making structure. You're getting the best of both worlds.
So, I'll just leave you with this final question to chew on. Thinking about this evidence-based framework we've walked through, how could your own workplace use these ideas to build more respect, more clarity, and ultimately, just a better way of working together? Thanks for tuning in.